Matthew Mercer and Brennan Mulligan are amazing at storytelling, no doubt. Their worlds always feel properly lived in, as though they have prepared for any and every situation that could possibly come up. So why is it when I prepare, all of a sudden it feels like I haven't prepared for anything that's coming up, and my players always do what's unexpected, and I don't have an answer for them? Well, if you feel that way, trust me, I've got a solution. I figured out how you and I can get very similar results from the stories that we tell with the people we DM for. And if you're interested, stick around. It's gonna be a good walk. Prep time. Matthew Mercer and Brennan Lee Mulligan are very good at prepping, and it's clear that they are. Does that mean you should be prepping as well? If you looked at the title, you're probably aware I'm about to tell you the answer is no. And bear with me. As somebody who's been DMing for over 20 years, preparation is good. It's very helpful, it's very important, but I've learned that it's not the end-all, be-all. It's not the only thing you need to do. And in fact, oftentimes, over-preparation can harm the story or the narrative experience for you as the game master and the players at your table. If you're over-preparing and you're expecting for millions of different outcomes and situations and experiences to happen, oftentimes that means you've spent a lot of time before the game starts sitting down at a table or a computer and trying to write and think about every possible outcome or situation, and that doesn't help you. So instead, what I'm gonna do, when I'm gonna try to posit to you, is encourage you to try less preparation and preparing more specifically. I've met a lot of people who have become burnt out at dungeon mastering because they've prepared so much, over-prepared for any given game. And by the time they're sitting down at the table, they're not even really looking forward to it at that point. Or they've over-prepared so much that when their players don't do what they were expecting, the DM doesn't know what to do. They struggle because they were only expecting this specific situation. That, or they sound like they're just reading off of a script, which is fine. Like having text boxes to read off of to your players is fine. You're allowed to do that. But it's not going to help you become a better DM. It's not going to make your world feel more lived in or more alive. It's very much going to kind of have an opposite effect for you, where it's going to feel more like, oh, the DM's just reading off of some papers or some notes that he had written down previously. Whether it's an NPC or a location filled with NPCs, I would strongly encourage you to do a couple of things. First, the NPC or the location's tone. Is this area in this location friendly? Is this area in this location upbeat or positive, or downtrodden and sad? This tone can shift depending upon who or what the situation is, but giving it a predetermined tone, I think, will really help you to figure out what's going on. So prep less beforehand, and prep specifically is the thing I would give you to do. Less pre-written dialogue and more characters' goals. So if you're talking to a king or somebody who's a wizard or a villain, give those NPCs goals. That way, when they interact with the players, all you have to think about is, what is the character's goal? What's the NPC working towards? If you know what the NPC is working towards, it's not hard to figure out how they'd respond in a situation. Likewise, for locations, if you're not great at coming up with NPCs on the spot, that's okay. If you have a general tone of the location that your players are in, right? So if they're in a city, or if they're inside of like a forest woodland area and they run into an NPC, if you know the city is mostly filled with people who are downtrodden or struggling to survive, you've got your tone right there. This NPC is not happy, and it kind of conveys the overall feel of the location that the players are in. And with this, with focusing on the goal of an NPC, the goal of a character, I want to encourage you to move away from aggressive prep time, especially if you're looking to have fun with playing the game, and move more towards being in the moment. So as you're playing through the game, as you're experiencing it, being there in that moment and pretending to be whatever character you're portraying. I found that DMs who get caught up in trying to figure out or come up with different ideas or different variables on the spot without just being present seem to struggle more. If you focus less on the prep time you did or didn't do and more on playing the game, because ultimately role-playing games are role-playing games, if you focus more on that game experience of playing the role, you'll have a lot easier time, especially if you've beforehand, instead of prepped out millions of lines of dialogue, only prepped out a handful of goals that your characters, your NPCs that are important, might be working towards. Matthew Mercer, Brennan Mulligan, big names. These are the people who are famous for doing this sort of thing. They do this a lot. They find goals. Each of their NPCs has a goal. And when they interact with the players, they know the rough goal of that NPC and they're working towards that in whatever dialogue or combat-based interactions they may be having. You, as a DM, just need to figure out the goals that you want to be working towards. If your desire is to have the big bad build a bomb and blow up the city, he's working towards that goal. How is he going to work towards that? And when the players try to stop that, what does he do? And eventually, obviously, you probably want to let the players get a shot at stopping it, or maybe you don't, and it's all going on behind the scenes, and maybe the players aren't even interacting with the big bad themselves, just the smaller characters, the minions of the big bad, and they're beginning to learn and realize what's happening. Whatever you're trying to do, I strongly encourage you to prep less and be present more. Just be present in the experience. Play the game. Figure out what the other players are doing. Pay attention to them. Watch and listen as your players are role-playing with each other and with you. And oftentimes I've found that if you listen to what they are doing, they'll tell you what they want to have happen in the story. And if you didn't like a direction it was going in, or you didn't really prep properly for a direction, and the players make a suggestion that they think is going to happen, oftentimes it'll sound like, oh my gosh, I think he's trying to do this. Or, oh, you know what, I bet this is about to happen. Go with it. Let it be that way. Because then the player gets the joy of being right, and you don't have to worry about prepping at all. I hope this has helped. I'm Joe, and keep on role-playing. Until next time.